Minerals. Congo holding up to $24 trillion in resources like gold and lithium, also the world's leading producer of cobalt. So thought that would give you a history and a setup for what we're about to see in the Oval Office. Again, the president might take other questions as well. And as we wait for him, retired Rear Admiral Mark Montgomery joins us right now. He's the former director of operations at U.S. Pacific Command. Admiral, welcome. Other items to talk about, certainly, with the week of the month we've had, including Iran. But on this, not something maybe we've talked about as much. President's been talking about it a few times. This peace deal, which is going to be signed, again, I was saying the minerals, is that the U.S. interest here? What do you make of this?
Absolutely. First, thanks for having me. I will tell you, this is a big deal. It's a big deal at two levels. One, this has been an ongoing conflict, and it goes all the way back to 1996, 97, when there was coups in Rwanda and Uganda were involved in Congo. So for over 26 years, there's been conflict back and forth. It had gotten very serious recently with the capture of Goma by the M23 rebels, and I think that's what caused the United States and European negotiators to get very involved. And the United States, of course, has a secondary interest, which is in access to the minerals and rare earth elements that exist in Congo. And I think that will be part of the deal bilaterally from the U.S. side as we see a ceasefire.
Now, one thing about all these ceasefires in all these places, and in this area in particular, they don't always hold. I mean, there were at least two previous attempts, right, that the U.S. I don't think was involved in, but they didn't hold. Will this one, I guess, is the question going into something like this?
I'm not sure. I spent some time in Rwanda last year, and my take was there's a lot of long-standing beefs in this region, and it goes way back to as you mentioned, the genocide perpetrated against the Tutsis by the Houthis back in the 1993, and so I would never discount the likelihood of war breaking back out, or conflict breaking back out between M23 rebels in Congo and the Congolese government.
Okay, so again, this is what we're going to see, at least at the start of the president's comments, finalizing this peace deal. I'm sure he'll talk more about it. Officials from both countries may speak about it. While we wait, let me shift to the situation in Iran by using some polling data. It's interesting, it's on the tablet here, I'll put it up on the screen, that shows that now, and this is the after part here, the strikes from the Trump administration are more popular than they were before. In other words, in the lead up, 43% of people supported U.S. strikes on Iran. But now that the mission is complete to this point, 55%. You see it by party. Of course, Republicans going to be more supportive than Democrats. What do you make of that, though, as it's explained? Because we had a lot of back and forth about, hey, what really happened? And the public is actually getting more supportive.
So that means that 12% of our public likes winners, right? I mean, that's what shifted. What shifted here was that there was a risk to this type of strike, and the risk was averted. The planes went, 7 B-2s went in, 7 B-2s came out. So I think when the risk is averted, then people tend to look at it more as on its face, is it good or bad? And this is a winning situation. And I think over time, we'll see that these strikes were successes, and that will drive the percentage up. I think the Fordo plant is going to determine to be not just non-operational, but permanently non-functional.
What do you think is the most important conversation we should be having now, Admiral? Is it the kind of the semantics about, what's obliterated, what's not obliterated, or is it something else? And if so, what? Because there's still more work to do here, negotiations and the like. What should we be talking about?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, because first of all, obliterated, not an actual battle damage assessment term here. But you're absolutely right. It's not, what's the assessment, quick look versus 96-hour. It's about success at the diplomatic table. So the Israeli Defense Forces and the U.S. military did what they needed to do militarily. We now, at the diplomatic table, need to not lose this momentum. We need to insist on no enrichment, no reprocessing, total establishment of the Iranian nuclear program, no strategic missiles, and no sanctions relief until all those steps are completed. That's going to be a big lift for our diplomats.
Right, because the Iranians are going to do everything in their power to avoid a lot of that. What's the hardest part there? Because Iran, it doesn't seem on, you just look at it, doesn't seem to have much leverage going in, but it doesn't mean that they're going to give in easily. What's the heaviest lift?
So the leverage is that they're negotiating with Americans, and we're impatient, and we don't stick to the principles. And we've struggled with Russia and the Russia-Ukraine. We struggled with Iran in the 2 months leading up to this. Now, the difference is Donald Trump practiced a military effect against the Iranians, with the strike. He allowed Benjamin Netanyahu to conduct a 12-day campaign. So that should give us a little more leverage. But I do worry that the United States won't negotiate this well. And I'm sure the Iranians will use the unaccounted for highly enriched uranium as their leverage.
Right. You think we really do know where that is? I mean, I know the president keeps saying, well, that's not what they were moving, and, it was just a cement, they were trying to reinforce the concrete, I think he said today. Do you have questions about that still?
So I think all those things are true, that they were trying to reinforce the concrete, they were trying to put in dirt,
Right.
and they were removing things, and they probably removed it beforehand. Do I think we and the Israelis together know where it's at? Within reason, yes.
Okay, Admiral, thank you. Admiral Mark Montgomery starting us off today. We appreciate it as we wait for the president.